So whether you buy one pre-owned or brand new, I think the Model S Plaid is probably the Swiss Army knife of cars current day. In this video, I'm going to talk about it, not in detail, but I'm going to cover some areas where I think this is the reason why. So first off, let's just get it out of the way. The power and performance that you get from the Plaid is unmatched by anything in the same price range, more than likely. You'll have to take a car that is not modify it, and spend a little bit of cash to get it to where the Plaid is, to get that same kind of performance, to even be able to come close. The Plaid is 1,020 horsepower and 1,050 foot-pounds of torque. That's incredible power for my brand new price of $85,000. That is a killer deal. And I just think it kind of shows that Tesla is on to something. So I've definitely searched and looked at, because obviously I have a 2024 Corvette E-Ray, and it's about $50,000 or more. It's about $50K more than my Tesla Model S Plaid, and it's about a second slower per se. In the quarter mile, the Corvette runs 10.5, 10.3 possibly in the right conditions, and the Plaid can run 9.2 in the right conditions. So yeah, the Corvette definitely is my favorite of the two, but the Plaid is my daily driver, and the Corvette could be my daily driver, but then no, I don't want to daily drive a two-door sports car as a daily driver and everyday get around, for a number of reasons. However, yeah, you won't find a car that's a sedan that's as powerful, that can beat the Plaid in this price range. There are plenty of cars out there now beating the Plaid, whether it be a sports car or a sedan. We all know the Sapphire is the one that can beat the Plaid by a second or so, but that car is $250,000. It has better range, and one would argue that it actually looks better. It has better interior. It's better than the Plaid in a lot of ways, but $250,000 versus $85,000. Yeah, I think that's kind of a no-brainer. I'm fine losing to the Sapphire in a quarter-mile race, which we probably won't ever do. I probably won't ever run up on a Sapphire. There are no Sapphires around here where I live at. I live in a pretty decent area. Like, there's G-Wagons in my community. There's Cybertrucks. There's lots of Mercedes over here. Pretty high-end cars where I live, but no one has a Sapphire. I don't think people see the value yet for the Sapphire versus the Tesla Model S Plaid. I'm not paying $250,000 to get a little bit more range and to be 1 second faster. Just don't see the value there. Thus, creating my point might be valid that the Plaid is going to be the ultimate sedan / sports car. I mean, literally, you can take it grocery shopping and you can take it to the track, beat up on everybody, and then come back and plug it up at home. So let's go to that point next. Let's go to fuel savings. The fuel savings on EVs, not just Teslas, the fuel savings are great. Some would argue, well, you're not really saving that much money. But the point is, you're saving money. Now, depending on how efficient you are with your EV that you're driving, again, it doesn't have to be a Plaid. It's just that you're driving an EV and you're not paying for fuel. You're charging up at a charging station, which is a lot less than a fill up of gas for most cars. And then you're charging at home. Now, on my Plaid, I do have free supercharging, but I charge at home sometimes. If I'm going to take a long trip, the car will charge to 360 miles. But if you're driving efficiently, there's an energy tab in the car that you go to in a Tesla, and it'll tell you how efficient you are. So you can clearly get more than what's rated on the car, like gas cars. My Corvette, people just can't believe that I'm getting 28 miles to the gallon on this sports car. They're blown away when I tell them, hey, I got 22 miles to the gallon driving over here. They just can't believe it. But that's the truth. So with the Tesla Model S Plaid, you are guaranteed, if you're efficient, you don't even have to put it in chill mode, really. Just feather that accelerator properly and don't hit it a lot, and you will get good range on the car. I like being able to plug in anywhere, because see, that's the advantage still that Tesla has. Every time I say this, some people get upset about it, saying no, Tesla doesn't have the advantage anymore, or just wait. But you're right. At some point, it will be a leveled playing field. But Tesla is the foundation when it comes to a charging network. It is, because companies are now making agreements with Tesla to use their charging network. And that's just what it is. But one thing I like is that while this is happening throughout the United States, there are still a lot of places that do not allow you to charge at a Tesla station if it's not a Tesla. They literally say Tesla only, and I haven't seen anybody get removed from it, but some of them say Tesla only, and they only allow Teslas because a lot of the vehicles that have to pull in forward, and it takes up 2 spots in a lot of cases. So with the charging infrastructure in place, I think this makes Teslas just way more valuable than a person could possibly imagine, because you don't have to pay for fuel. And if I compare a full-size sedan filling up next to a Tesla, if I didn't have to pay for charging, it would cost me and the thing about Tesla's charging, the prices do fluctuate just like fuel prices, but they're not drastic like fuel prices. The most I've seen a person take to fill up or fully charge their battery was about no more than $19. That's pretty doggone good. At home, I've spent probably maybe $100 or a little over $100 in a full year to keep a Tesla charged. So that's way more fuel savings than Tesla leads on. Tesla will even tell you, hey, just plug up at home when you're not using the car. Just leave it plugged up. Leave it plugged up so you'll always have the capacity to go anywhere you want to without range anxiety. And that's something that I think people really try to harp on. But at this point, you really don't have to have range anxiety, because most people who buy Teslas, they don't drive as much as what the car is rated at for range. Their round trip may be 60 miles a day or whatever, or 30 miles a day or whatever it is. It could be 200 miles a day, but you still have the capacity to just plug up at home or stop at a supercharger and you're good. You can top off. A lot of places have free charging if you're at a hotel. There's a lot of advantages to driving an EV. A lot of places have free charging. If you're staying at the hotel, some places just have free slow charging for those emergency situations. I've seen this before too. So the charging conversation can go on and on and on, folks. The fact of the matter is, driving the Tesla Model S Plaid, you shouldn't have to worry about, oh my gosh, range anxiety, or how am I going to get this charged? There's always a way. And another plus I would say is that with the Tesla, you don't have to pull out your credit card and check anything. You just plug it up. It's linked to your account. And with the referral program, I've already referred someone. The new referral program is really great for people who want to pay for their charging, because it links to your account and it'll pull from you. You could just refer one person, folks, and they give you a large amount of money for referring one person, but the person also gets $1,000 off of their car. So use a referral code if you're looking to buy a Tesla, and then refer someone. After you use my referral code, get your car, you refer someone, and you can refer up to, I think it is 10 people in a 12-month period. It's a lot of cash, folks. You'll have to, and the bad part is though, that it still expires in a year, so you'll need to use it. But nonetheless, again, charging conversation, I can go on and on about this. It is nothing like what people try to lead you on to believe, that it's a bad thing and you're only going to get 200 miles to the range, or you're only going to get 300 miles to the range. It's just not like that. When you're driving the car, you'll always be at capacity as long as you plug up at home or stop at a supercharger. So power out of the way, power is a price. You won't find another sedan or car for that matter. Like, there's no 1,000 horsepower cars, 1,000 foot-pounds of torque cars out there for $80,000. And if you go into the pre-owned market, you can get some really good deals, folks, like 50,000, 60,000 with pretty decent miles on them. 9,000. I've actually found, okay, so here's the thing. I was going to go pre-owned, but I got burned buying a pre-owned car about 15 years ago, and I vowed not to buy another pre-owned car. But I'm kind of shying away from that. It depends on what it is. I'll buy it. And with the Tesla, I was really on the fence about buying a 22 Model S Plaid. It had 9,800 miles on it, and it was $65,000. I was like, yo, I need to get this. but I just have this thing about pre-owned cars. Obviously, it was a 22, so the time of the warranty was coming to a close because you get a big warranty on the cars, but it's either the miles or the years, whichever comes first. So I would have basically lost almost 3 years of the warranty, even though it only had 9,800 miles on it. You see what I'm getting at? So, yeah, I just opted to not go pre-owned and stick with my new vehicles. And so I couldn't find anything that's $85,000 that matches Tesla for power and performance. And then also fuel savings. I couldn't find anything that was $85,000 that was in this sports sedan that matches the Tesla. It's just not going to happen. You got the Cadillac Blackwing, all these different cars. They just don't match the fuel economy or the price. They're almost double the price of the Plaid in a lot of situations. So do your homework. That's all I can tell you. So let's talk about, we talked about power, we talked about fuel savings. How about just the way the car is in size, like what you can do with it? So comfort in driving this car, it is a comfortable ride. So I've heard that, people on the 22s or 21s, I'm sorry, they're having problems with the camber issue. So let me be clear here. I never said I had problems with my car because I have the Tempest wheels. So they're the 19s. And the people who are reporting these camber issues have the 21s. So I don't have any tire wear. After 3-4 months of having this car, I don't know how long I've had it. I don't have any tire wear, and I like to drive in the low settings. So if you get a Tesla Model S Plaid and you get the 21s, I'm hearing that you're going to run through tires faster. I'm hearing that you're going to have camber issues. I don't have these problems. And I didn't get the 21s simply for one reason. I don't think they're worth the money. They're like $4,500 more when you put them in your build. And then if you do it afterwards, I think it's like $6,000. I just don't think they're worth it. And they're not the best looking wheel. I don't think they look that great. Compared to just any other wheel you could possibly get on a Tesla. There are so many other wheels out there that you can get in a 21 for a Tesla, or a 20 or a 22, just whatever you want to do to your car. Aftermarket wheels are going to cost less and they're going to definitely look better. But just be mindful that if you start to go above 20, you're going to have those camber issues more than likely. Now on my car, I got it ordered with the 19-inch Tempest wheels. Now, how do I feel about the Tempest wheels? The way they look, I think they look okay with the caps on, but the caps off, I think it is a hideous wheel. I see people take their caps off and say it looks much better. Personal preference, I think they look horrible with the caps off, and it takes away from range. So that aside, I like the Tempest wheels. I love the way they look, better than the 21s. And I like the 20s the best though. But the 20s, you can get them without the track pack. I believe there's about $6,000. But again, you can get a better looking 20-inch wheel for a third of that price with tires. So comfort and feel as far as driving goes. There's a lot of cars out there that are comfortable. So I cannot say, and I have a lot of cars that are my Corvette is comfortable on the ride, believe it or not. And it's on a 20-inch staggered setup. It's still comfortable though. But when it comes to a comfortable ride, if you want the most range and then the most comfortable ride on the Tesla Model S Plaid, go with the 19s. You'll get a little bit faster car by like 0.3, I believe it is. But I think this car is extremely comfortable. The dual pane windows, it's just so quiet, folks. It's great. It is that one vehicle that you put it on the highway for 20-30 minutes of cruising, you won't even realize that you're going 85. It's just comfortable. There's not much to say about that. It is a comfortable ride and it's quiet. Now, if you compare that to some other sedans, yeah, you might find that there are a lot of other luxury sedans out there that are really quiet and comfortable, but they won't have the same type of quietness, and they will have road noise because of the tires. The tires on Teslas have a special foam in there to keep the car quiet. So be mindful of when you're switching out your tires on your car, what you're getting into. Don't put, I've seen people change the tires on their vehicle and they complain to Tesla about it being louder and less range. But reality is Tesla just told them, well, you switched out the factory tires. And so that's why you have more noise on the road. And that's why you have this uneven wear. And, they kind of just put it back on them. So I got the car exactly how I plan on driving it indefinitely. I don't plan on changing the wheels. If I change them, it's just going to be for show purposes, then put them on, put my other ones back on per se. But the ride and comfort and feel on the interior, the seating. Now I have the new 24 model where it has the sports seats. The sports seats, to me, folks, are a must. They look better. They feel better. They just are all around better. And I've been in both seats before, and I've driven both versions of this car with the previous seats and the sports seats. The sports seats are the way. It's like a Recaro seat, basically, with extra padding and much thicker and comfort. It's really good. I really like it a lot in comparison to the previous generation seats. And when I ordered this car, I intentionally said I want the sports seats. It was going to be ultra red. That was my favorite color. I was going to match it with my Model Y that I have. And the wait time was just too long. And so I just say, you know what, give me another one and make sure it has the sports seats, and I'll pick the color. And so I got all my discounts and stuff and transferred the VIN and everything to the new car, which is that car that sits outside right now in the stealth gray color, which I actually end up liking, believe it or not. But nonetheless, the interior, very comfortable, and it fits the ride of the exterior when it comes to road noise. And it's just an all-around comfortable package. Now, another reason why I feel like the Model S Plaid is probably at the top of the list for a lot of people, they just don't know it yet. And I have some cons too. Don't think this is a praise them up video. Oh, there's these just saying this. No. There are a few cons, and I'll get to those. But as a matter of fact, let's tackle some of the cons real quick. So the first con that I have is the HVAC system. This has got to be the worst HVAC system. And this makes this car unattractive to some people probably. Tesla owners will say, oh, this is what you do. But I have a dislike. I just don't like the HVAC system. I don't think it's that good. I think that having physical buttons, and I added physical buttons to my Model Y, and I'm waiting for that to become an option for my Plaid. I will be adding physical buttons to control the HVAC system. It's so much better, but the HVAC system is just the worst. And then another thing that I found myself dealing with this car, I'm getting used to it, but not having regular shifters for turn signals stocks on there. Now I actually have a brand new set right in there. I just haven't put them on yet. I got them as soon as I got the car. I just haven't put them on yet. I'm now getting used to the capacitive buttons, but I think some people might be deterred by that initially. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Now, another thing that makes this car way ahead of its time is the tech inside. Now, I'm a tech guy, obviously, tech enthusiast. I would say I was a tech guy. The tech inside of this car far exceeds any other car on the road, because with over-the-air updates, just like all my smartphones, and by the way, I'm recording this video with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. With the tech inside, this car exceeds everything on the road. Over-the-air updates come in pretty much almost monthly, sometimes weekly, and it's fixing and resolving and it's adding features, which is phenomenal. And a lot of people have channels based solely around self-driving. That's because they pay for the self-driving. And honestly, I know they want to get their money back. The people who initially bought the self-driving, they got the best deal. No, they didn't get the best deal. The people who have it now have the best deal because the price went down. The people who bought it initially, ouch, they paid a lot more for it. But I see some channels based solely around self-driving. That's what it's based on. And they just show you the self-driving all the time. Now, personally, I don't like the self-driving. I canceled the subscription or whatever. They give it to you with the car when you first buy it, but I was like, I don't want this. I don't trust it yet. I don't. Right now, I'm not doing a lot of highway driving, which I think is where it should be used the most. In town driving, it's full on. It can do it. I've done it. Sometimes though, it brakes when it's not supposed to brake. It thinks cones are in the road. I could take you out there right now in the car. There's one road that I go on, and it thinks that there's cones in the road, and there's nothing in the road. I don't know why it's like that. I have no idea. Anytime it starts beeping really loud, and I just keep driving, and it goes away. It's very strange, and that is why I don't trust full self-driving yet. But that aside, that's my personal experience with it and my personal preference. The self-driving is crazy. Now with vehicles, companies want you to pay for navigation, or they'll say, well, you can use CarPlay or you can use Android Auto. When I was buying cars years ago, navigation was on an SD card that was kind of hidden away in your glove box or hidden away in some part of the car, your center console. It was just on an SD card. Now companies want you to pay for it, which is crazy, or they're limiting you to like 3 years. GM limits you to 3 years or something like that. And then they want you to pay for it. I'm like, no. With Tesla, you actually get 8 years of navigation. Yeah. It won't show like the greenery, and so it's like a basic navigation, but you get 8 years worth with that price. And if you choose to do the premium services for the radio, which is what I do, you get full on everything with it, which is just great. You get music, navigation, you get full blown navigation with all the color maps and all this other stuff, and the land. It's just I like the tech in this car because it's just nice. It's nice to have, to be able to just do whatever to the screen and boom. And speaking of the screen, with the navigation, the one thing I like about the Model S Plaid versus my Model Y is you get the full display for navigation. Oh, I really like that. But the reason that you get that full display is because you have a center stack that's on the car already. The S and the X from Tesla get the center screen. Best thing ever. It's a little redundant because when you fire up navigation, you've got navigation here and you've got it here. So I get it. But I do like the tech inside this car. I think it's just great. So you've got one of the most powerful sedans. You can get them pre-owned for easily $60,000, $50,000, and you get the same amount of power. I mean, I have the newer version. Okay, great. But it still has the same amount of power as a pre-owned one. The pre-owns don't have the new seats. The pre-owns don't have the tilting display. That's new. A lot of people who have the 22s and the 21s, I believe, they don't have the tilting display. Because I've spoken to people, and I know people who have the older Plaids like that. They don't have the tilting display. And a lot of them were forced to get the yoke. I'm hearing that if you call Tesla or you set a service appointment with Tesla for your steering wheel peeling or cracking or something like that, they'll replace it to the regular steering wheel, which is what I have, which is what I opted for. Putting this car together is a little different than putting together other cars. You can change out things like that. Oh, I don't want a steering wheel. I want a yoke. I want a different. It's an option. But now being able to have a regular round steering wheel, because the first time I experienced this car, I experienced it with the yoke and I hated it. It was just horrible. It's not realistic. It's not realistic to drive with. I know people say, oh, you'll get used to it. You will get used to it, but it is uncomfortable to drive with and not realistic. Not for me. I just don't see it as a good look. I don't care how a person tries to sell it to me. You'll get used to it. If you have it for a long time, yeah, I hear you, but no. A regular steering wheel, traditional steering wheel is always going to be better, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. So I have the regular steering wheel in my car. I absolutely love it. I actually have a Cybertruck steering wheel that I can actually put. I got a bunch of parts in. I was like, I'm just not going to do it yet. But nonetheless, I'm excited, to report that I feel like for the money, and again, especially if you go pre-owned, for the money, for what you're getting a very nice, clean interior. I didn't even mention the sound system. Whoa. There's 22 speakers in this car. Pardon me. And this sound system in this car is crazy. I know I mentioned the tech or whatever inside, but you can watch Netflix, Hulu, YouTube. You can do, I think they even have TikTok in there as well. You've got a full web browser. It's a computer on wheels. So you can treat it it's like a cell phone. It's crazy. It's like a laptop. right in the car, which is really good. So the power to the performance and power to the price, I don't know of a vehicle that's beating it. You can try to name one. I don't think you're going to be able to find one, especially when you buy pre-owned. I mean, if you can accept that you're not getting the newer headlights, the newer tail lights, the newer interior, and save $20,000 or $15,000, whatever you find one at, you're going to enjoy the vehicle. I think it looks good on the outside with that price and performance. I think the exterior matches it. I wish it was a little bit more aerodynamic, and I wish they would just bring out a coupe version, because I'm going to buy it. If they bring out a coupe version of a Model S or just some kind of roadster, I'm going to buy it, folks. It's going to be parked outside, and hands down, I'm buying it. Period. I'm getting it. I have to have it. I love sports cars, but yeah, you won't find anything in that, especially sedans. You won't find a performance car this size that can go grocery shopping, take a full trip with you and your family, load up the kids, whatever you have in your life. You just won't find it. The cargo space, the storage, everything is there, and it's still blowing other cars off the road with performance versus price. You just won't find it. And one thing I didn't talk about, I kind of mentioned it, was the service center. I live close to 2 service centers, and folks, I tell you, Tesla is like the Apple of cars. You can roll in there. They can come to your house. I've had them come to the house and do things on my Model 3. And I was like, wow, that's it. It's all under warranty. It's just the best service ever. Just the entire experience of owning the Tesla is a different experience than owning another car. There's no haggling with rebates or discounts or anything like that. Whatever it shows is just what it shows at the time of purchase. Yeah, you can get screwed over if you, well, I shouldn't say you can get screwed over, but you'll probably feel played if you just bought a car. Like the people who bought the 24 Model S Plaid, and then the next month, the new seats were announced. You probably felt played. And then also price increases, or price decreases, price drops, whatever. You got to get in at the right, like if they drop this car to 75,000 right now and I just bought it for 85, I'm gonna be like, yo, but there's nothing I can do. At the time, I got a good deal, I feel like. And whatever you feel like is your good deal at the time of purchase, because you don't control the market in a sense of setting the prices. The companies are doing this. If they're making too much money, if they're not going to make too much. If they're making a lot of money, they might set them kind of low sometimes. If they're not making enough money, they might kind of set them low sometimes. And they just fluctuate the market the way they want to do it. We don't know when it's going to happen. So I don't think there's a car out there that has better haggle-free service. Everybody's going to have a story. So when I took my car to the Tesla service center, they were rude and they were this and they were that. I get it. It can happen. But overall, that's not happening to everybody. There are people like myself who have rolled into the service center and got treated with respect. It was a good experience. They give you loaners without even asking, like, well, this is going to take 4 hours. We're going to get and set you up with this car over here. That's just the way it's been for me. So the price, the service center, the car itself, the sound system, the tech inside, the comfort, the power, the everything, I think it's worth it. I think it, in fact, is like the Swiss Army knife of vehicles right now. Whether people want to accept it or not, it's just they don't want to get on board with full electric. They don't want to get on board with that, and they feel some type of way about it. But the reality is, I think if a lot more people were given a Tesla to drive for 6 months, 3 months, it won't even take that long, and you start calculating what you were normally spending on fuel, maintenance, oil changes, all these different things, you will in fact say that the Tesla is the better option, especially if you're a performance type person. And you're going to say that the Tesla Model S Plaid is like the ultimate daily driver. It really is, straight up. So what do you think about the Tesla? You think it's the Tesla Model S Plaid in particular? If you could afford one, would you get one? Do you think it's the ultimate daily driver? I personally think so. And I actually have I have the Model Y dual motor in there as well. And remember, I drive a Corvette E-Ray, very fast car. very and way better looking. There's a lot of cars on the road that are better looking than Teslas. Let's just be clear. They're not the best looking cars, but they're made for efficiency. And then the Plaid series for Tesla is made for performance, but it still has great efficiency. So you tell me what you think. How do you feel about the Tesla Model S Plaid or the Tesla Model X? The X is a little bit more expensive, but I think the Tesla Model S Plaid is in fact the ultimate daily driver. It's the ultimate. It's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next one. Take care.